Hello everybody, welcome to another Patreon video. We are using Johannes Itten's Design and Form, the basic course at the Bauhaus. We're using exercises from this to inform our art practice and teach us more about the visual arts. We have finished up the lessons on light and dark, and now we are moving into exercises related to color. This first color exercise will actually be a bridge between the color exercises and light and dark. We're going to be using the same kind of concepts from Itten's, but I'm actually going to take an exercise from Josef Albers' Interaction of Color. Now, Itten and Albers were kind of contemporaries within the Bauhaus, and Albers' color theory, which we continue to use as contemporary color theory, is a continuation of Itten's work at the Bauhaus. And some of the concepts that Itten puts in the Bauhaus basic course, Albers takes further and refines. We're not going to use this book for all the color exercises. I'm actually going to do a video series dedicated just to interaction of color, but I do want to borrow one or two things from it. One of the important things is the visual perception of color is almost never seen as it really is, as it physically is. This makes color the most relative medium in art. That's a key concept, that color is always going to be dependent on its context and surrounding. The first exercise we're going to do is actually a light and dark exercise in which you will use collage material. Here's an example from Albers' book to do a gradient from light and to dark. Here's the one I executed earlier. I'm going to play the time lapse of me actually putting all this together right now. After that lovely high-speed art-making montage, we're actually going to address what I've made here. Now, these are all cut collage pieces, and I'm using my old Transformers comic books. I guess you have to sacrifice some nostalgia to make something new and good. But one of the reasons I'm getting everything from the same source, you can see this paper has a little bit of a reflective sheen to it. If the reflectiveness of the material changes, that will alter how you see the contrast in this in these collage exercises. So it's important to have the same kind of paper. So if you're using newsprint, use newsprint throughout. If you're using fashion magazines, use fashion magazines throughout, because that way you won't be focusing on the difference between the shininess. You'll be focusing on the difference between the actual light and dark. Now, another thing that you'll notice is these have some different colors. I'm not focusing on the color. Specifically, I'm not focusing on what we call the chroma, like the difference between red and blue. I'm not worried about that. I'm only focused on what people in the color world call value. That is, how much white or black is in each color piece. And so here I've established what I found was the whitest white in the comic books. And so that is the whitest value. And then in this corner, I've chosen what I think is a pure black. And so that being the darkest value that I could find in the comic books. And then I'm taking this massive, hunting through this massive amount of cut paper. These are pretty small, but I'm looking through them and then putting together like a jigsaw puzzle. And if you notice in the time lapse, sometimes I'm holding them and comparing them to other places. And that's where this kind of idea that the color is relative really makes a difference, because it's each step is going to have a contrast. Like even now I can see this and I was like, ooh, this one might be a misstep because I think that's darker than that. And then as you do these iterations, those missteps become less and less. And then your sensitivity to what's light and dark in comparison becomes much more attuned and exercised And just like when you do exercises with your body, when you do it with your eyes, and in terms also with your sensitivity to these things in your mind, then you become much, much better at it. I want to apologize at the end for all the sniffles. It's allergy season and I'm just like suffering. At least you can't see my face, which is all runny and gross. I wanted to thank you for tuning in to another lesson, and we are going to get going in color, and it's going to be really exciting. So I hope you all tune in. Thank you so much.